Hi, welcome, and today we're going to be going over kind of the garden tour for January. My dogs are having a really, well, now they're kind of perked up. They like the sun on a cold day. It's about 60 now. I did dig a hole where I had one of the loquat trees, and they would dig it up and lift it up, put it in a pot. I'll show you the pot over there in a minute. The Okinawa spinach just went dormant. Hopefully they'll come back in a few days. The carrots, I did cover them with leaves, and they're coming through. To put some extra fertilizer on it. I brought all the fig trees and things, brought them up here so they have a little bit more protection when we had the cold weather a couple weeks ago. I haven't moved them back out because with my luck, if I moved them all back out, it'd get cold and have to bring them up again. So we'll leave them out there. And then I did transfer a couple of, I believe that's some type of green or whatever. The oregano's growing fine. Even one of the lemongrass is still green, so it's kind of surprised on that. The peach trees, this peach tree here is dormant. It does have some, right there, if you see those 3 buds like that, that means it's going to bloom on that part there. Same thing up here. That's one green bud and the other one's earlier today. The bees were hitting the, there's still a few bees. We go over there for just a minute. This tree here, the cherry of the Rio Grande, this is where it's sat. I have not moved it. So it took the 15-degree weather and it's doing good. So if you want a kind of semi-tropical plant that it does have, you know, decent taste and fruit, kind of got cherry aftertones to it. We've had good luck with it, even in a pot. So it's been able to survive the colder temperatures. And we'll come back up over here. Here's the blackberry that I had. It's still doing okay. You know, the leaves are turned some because we had cold weather. This should make some berries on it this year. We'll find out. It's died back a little bit. It's died back down here, I believe. But it's kind of expected. This is the nectarine. I'm not going to try to mess with the bees too much, but see here where you just have just one bud, you'll have just the leaf will come out, and here you can see a little bit better. See the 2 side ones? Oh, there's a lot of bees on this thing I didn't see. I'm going to be pretty still right here. But there's a bud here, and a bud here, and a leaf in the middle. So that's what those 3 buds will do. And we'll leave the bees alone to do what they want to do and don't get mad at me. We have a good relationship. They haven't stung me yet, so I'll leave them alone. And you got to get along with the bees. The wasps may be a different story, but bees, you have to tolerate them. Garlic's growing good. Sweet peas are starting to grow up on the trellis. All the citrus I put in the garage is doing fine. This here's coming out of it fine. This is the sweet potatoes I've kept alive just for my lizard because he likes the leaves on it. And we'll come back up over here. You can stay here. This suffered some damage, more so. One I would have liked, but that actually happened before the freeze, not before I put them in the garage. It got down like 25. I think the thing it said it weren't supposed to get that cold. But you can't always trust the weatherman, especially when we're far away. We're 30 miles away, and they do give a forecast for Buna here, but it's not always accurate. So you have that to work out. Here's the stuff they got rolling in trays. I do leave these trays out because they can handle the colder weather and the wind. I just set them up here so you get a little more sun. Kind of keep the leaves off them so it won't shade something out. But the pepper that I put it back in and stuff, it's kind of looking haggard, but you know, it's still surviving. And these are, I think I've done this other one too, but that's the, and I look for these start growing here, or these start putting out some roots or something here next month or so. The Ramachamba, looking very good, but we'll see if it comes out of it or not. Like I said, I've had it, I think about 6 years, and it hadn't produced any fruit, any blooms, so I kind of got, you know, when they don't produce fruit on it, it's hard to really take as good a care of them, and I just was really wanting to be able to taste one, see how it tasted. Here's where we plant some of the greens. They haven't really started taking off yet, but I hope to pretty soon. These are, I've had these in here longer, and they find kind of adaptive, and we'll be able to start harvesting off of them here in another week or two. And this over here, and this is what happens when you put a hole in the bucket. But I'm gonna, it's a good thing because I may try to do a wickless, a wicket top system for this one. I've got some plans for it, so it doesn't have a hole in it, and that's what happens when you have that much rain as you got. And this is a loquat tree, and basically I took that plug they had out there, dug it around there, stuck it here, and I've got good potting mix all the way around it and underneath it. You're not really supposed to put soil in a bucket, but I would rather do that than I would turn around and try to, you know, I could have washed all the soil off of it. I think it would cause more damage than if I would just put it down as a solid plug. And we'll go back over here just a minute and I'll show you the loquats. And here's the loquat that I've had potted up before. See, those fruits are looking good. This one I did put in the garage. We'll see how many of these blooms have set on those. They were later. I know I got one over here that's starting to look okay. So we'll see. Loquats are one of those weird fruits that they fruit in the fall. You got to carry the fruit through the winter, and then they make in the early spring. So hopefully they'll make it. We never, if it gets below between 26 and 28 degrees, it freezes the fruit. And the first year or two is here, the fruit didn't freeze. So I was thinking, well, I go and plant them in the ground. I plant them in the ground, and then they hadn't made, I think it's 4 years straight that they've got burnt back by the freeze. So next we'll go look over at the blueberries. Okay, these are my blueberries. They're all high bush, they're southern high bush blueberries varieties. Two of them are Sweet Crisp. One of them's Snow Chaser. I think one of them is the Pink Lemonade. One's at O'Neill. Here they are starting to bloom. You see the blooms starting to come out. O'Neill is bad about throwing all his blooms out, putting the fruit on, and then later producing leaves. These others have kept their leaves through everything, and these, all but one of these I put up toward the house. The others all sat out here and took the 15-degree temperature. So they'll still kind of keep the leaves on them. They have been in pots probably 10 years. You do have to make sure you keep the pH on them low. I fertilize them with ammonium sulfate to help keep it lower, and sometimes I even use some vinegar to put in the water to try to keep that. You got to keep it between 4.5 and 5.5. If you live in a place that's got a lot of limestone country like Central Texas, you're gonna probably use battery acid or something like that, or use reverse osmosis water or something, because you got to get rid of all that calcium carbonate that's in the water, and that will raise that pH up too high and will kill the tree. Most things can handle the higher pHs. It's not a problem for most plants, but blueberries have to have that acidic soil. So now we're going to look at the little bit of stuff that's growing up there in the in-ground. This is kind of the raised bed area of my garden. This here's where we got the garlic planted, and it's just now starting to come up. It is what it is. We're going to see if I can get it to come on up and do better. This is where I'm going to be planting my pepper plants. We got chicken wire around it because the chickens were getting in here. Now some of the chickens that were getting in here are no longer with us. They decided to roost outside, and they made a meal for some of the area wildlife. They got a big barn to get in, but sometimes things make bad choices. But this here, for the most part, I know this is Primark Freedom. The ones that's got the thorns on is not Primark Freedom. They're another variety. I've grew several varieties, and they kind of mix and match, because they don't stay together very well. Now, and this is a seedling peach tree that came up. Has not produced any peaches. I'll see if it produces peaches this year. It's kind of in the way, but I just hadn't got around to putting it out. This I thought was kind of interesting. This came from last year. It lived all the way through the winter. The freeze knocked this out. It looked real good right after the freeze, and then they kind of went downhill after that. But this in here still, I mean, you could eat that right there. But this one little segment survived. This part here didn't. That over there is a sweetie pie blackberries. They've got a really good taste to them. They're a smaller berry. And then over here, we have the Ponca, P-O-N-C-A, blackberries, and they're really good tasting blackberry also. And they're kind of spreading out all over, and I don't mind that too much. Getting off that other, here's my lemonade tree, Jiu-Jitsu. It doesn't look like it's going to lose all its leaves this year, so maybe it'll go ahead and produce. You know, I was kind of wondering about it, but so far so good. There's some of our peach trees. These here hadn't bloomed yet, which is a good thing. And come up over here. Now, I'll shoot that here in this deer here. This had no water in it before we started getting rain the other day. Now we got that much water. Now that's not that much rain. It's only probably about 6 inches of rain. But around here, you know, probably by spring this thing will be full of water. So that's how much rain we get. I'm not used to that. I'm not from around here. I say that, I've been here 23 years now, but I wasn't raised around here, so that's always still kind of freaks me out that you can, you put stuff out containers out and it, you know, you get more water than it evaporates. But, got to tell from Central and West Texas. There's another one of our Satsumas. This here, I said blood orange today, it's actually Cara. It's got some of these, you're going to lose some of the leaves, but the inside of it where it covered, those leaves all look really good. This is another one of the wild Ponca, or not wild, but one of the Poncas that's gotten out of where I wanted to grow. This one here is Mr. Mac Satsuma. The part that was sticking out from under it is kind of looking bad, but the other's looking good, so you know, I'm pleased with that. And the Miho is here, and that leaf didn't make it. You know, I can't complain about that. Here's another one of my peach trees that has not made any peaches since I've had it. It's already blooming out. It's going to mean I'm going to have to start spraying. The bees are hitting it, so I get pollinated. Now, peaches can take temperatures down to around 30 and sometimes below, even if they got blooms on it or they got fruit on it. So this still may make it because we're getting in late, you know, starting to get to be late January. So, you know, and I'm in Southeast Texas, so, you know, they still got a chance, but still way early. And with that, and a Chickasaw plum, this is a, and it is loaded with blooms this year again. This is the Guthrie Chickasaw plum. I can tell because it doesn't have root sprouts. Where if you look at the O'Neill, it's got root sprouts all over it. And me or my son's going to come out here and cut all these root sprouts out, or we're just going to mess in through here. But you know, go over this one over here. It's got a bunch of. You can tell, you know, got those three. Even there's more than three, I think. So you got all those buds on it, so it's going to bloom out really good. You do have to have two different varieties of them. You can't just have a Neil, or you can't just have a Guthrie. You have to have two different varieties for pollination. If you want even better pollination, I do have one over there that's just a regular Chickasaw plum, and it'll really pollinate better. But you know, I've gotten by with just the two for a while, and I thought, well, I was going to buy a Chickasaw to make sure I got good pollination. And then the year that I planted the Chickasaw, the others bloomed good, and then I got a decent fruit set. It's not necessarily that bad because I got to have so many fruits on this, and I'm going to have to thin them out, or they get really small, you know, harder to spray. And I haven't let these things go crazy. I should cut the tops out of them, try to keep it more manageable, because how do you get spray up that high? You can't. So I got this peach tree here. It has not made anything good. I will see. And you know, I haven't mentioned much about the peaches on my channel because last year I got wiped out with a late freeze. It got down in the, I guess, upper 20s, and like March 20th, these already had, you know, good sized fruits on them, and it devastated them. So the only peaches I got was the peaches that was up front in the containers. This is the Daikon radish cover crop over here, and this is where I'm going to be planting my tomatoes, and I'm going to get these pretty soon because here in about 3 weeks we're maybe potentially planting our tomato plants. We're going to see, they are seem to be talking a lot about having a cold winter, so that's not necessarily good. So let's go over and look at the other trees over here. Okay, this is a Gulf Beauty, and I mean a Gulf Rose. It's a very good tasting Japanese plum. that I've grown in the past. I've never made a whole lot, but it's got a lot of blooms on it this year. It has to be cross-pollinated by another of the Gulf series of plums that either Florida or Georgia put out. But anyway, I've got a Gulf Beauty that's over there, so hopefully they'll bloom enough that we'll get some fruit off of it. This here is my N33 Navel Orange. I had, you know, mulch all over it. It's going to survive. It doesn't looking real good. I did on my onions. They're looking okay, and I did run the wheel hoe over it to help control the weeds and also help kind of aerate the soil out. You can see how it's doing. Our local ones went through everything just fine, but like I say, all the fruits are, you know, they're all toast. They're not going to make it. So, another day. And here's where we're going to plant the potatoes, which got me a little bit concerned because this does stay a little bit wetter, and the forecast is saying it's for wet weather. But and then we're going to be planting our beans. There's our corn here again. I think I was looking at a video. But anyway, there's my horse. I know they're out there eating all the ryegrass. We got over 6 inches of rain the other day, so and I put out some fertilizer, so they have hit that stuff hard. But you know, they're hungry, so but they're doing well. But anyway, that's the tour of the garden, and I'm gonna keep y'all updated. I'm gonna try to do at least a tour every month, so y'all kind of see how things go, because I don't like it when people say, hey, they show something and then they don't come back for a while. May not necessarily be 4 weeks apart, but I'm gonna try to do it at least once every month. And this one for January, and see y'all